now that you know a little bit about who I am, let me tell you a little bit about who I'm not. I am not Jacques Cousteau, David Suzuki, or Mark Twain. Though certainly they have some traits that I really aspire to. I share this with you because my talk is a little bit sciencey, and I'm totally unqualified for that. So I hope that if you get lost, or more likely if I do, we'll forgive each other and wait for the end. It'll totally come together. Really, I'm here to talk about the way that we collaborate and align with one another. This sort of thought wave, if you will, birthed for me out of an observation that I think that there's some things that we're missing out on. I think that there's times when we are totally missing the boat. This is a list of some organizations and businesses that you and I probably know. On the left-hand side is some nonprofits and businesses that are no longer with us. And on the right-hand side are some that I'm familiar with, this is totally off the top, that could use some extra help and may be undergoing significant transitions in the next little while. Clearly, we live in a less and less predictable world where I think the pathways to success and effectiveness are rewritten on a regular basis, and where the degree to which we are effective as individuals and in our businesses and our projects and purposes has an ever greater effect on our friends and family, our community, and the world at large. One thing that really excites me about tremendous change in the world, obviously, is the trickle-down effect and how that impacts the local capacity for innovation and collaboration, particularly that which moves us forward at a local level. I think that the innovators that are around us play a really sacred role and ultimately are going to be the people most likely to lead us to clean water, fresh food, warm homes, and so on. The innovator plays a really special role in our communities. I think that it warrants our attention and our honoring of their efforts in a way that's distinct from how we've been doing it. They subject themselves to increased risk. They have a shortage of mentors and models. And they deal with the concern, fear, and skepticism of their friends, family, and financiers. I think that there's a monster lesson that we could learn from the ocean, and I'd like to share it with you. The monster in my tale is one that very few people have ever seen, and yet it's responsible for the loss of hundreds of lives and many dozens of ships. Its very existence, until quite recently, was thought totally impossible. The monster that I'm speaking of is a rogue wave, an open ocean monster that massively is greater than its neighboring sea state. This is a photo taken from the Bay of Biscay in 1940. That ship managed to limp home through that encounter. The rogue wave has become part of our lore, holding a sacred and horrific place in our favorite ocean stories, poems, and films. The very idea of a rogue, a single wave some 3 times greater than its sea state, has been, according to the prevailing science of the last 50 years, a 1 in 10,000 year phenomenon. And then something very special happened. New Year's Day 1995, a wave hit the Dropner oil platform in the North Sea with such a force that they initially thought it was a localized earthquake. Unlike previous encounters with rogue waves, this one was captured by modern onboard instrumentation. The Dropner platform houses an array of lasers on the bottom, which can measure the distance between the rig and the sea floor. In this case, they caught something previously thought absolutely impossible, a 25-meter trough-to-crest wave height in an 8-meter average sea state. This led me to find, naturally, Erwin Schrödinger, who in 1933 was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics for this work, which points to the possibility of a waveform which borrows power from its neighboring waves, allowing for an exponential but temporary increase in power. So imagine, if you will, you're on a really big ship in a really big sea, and you somehow have the opportunity to safely watch this phenomenon occur. You're looking out and you see a really large wave, and you see another smaller, faster wave catching up to that wave, and they merge. And as you might expect, normally there would be the sum of these 2 waves. In this instance, this miracle, this unpredictable miracle of phase alignment occurs, and the 2 peak. It goes completely vertical, like this 100-plus foot wave crossing a supertanker in the North Atlantic. This was one of the first photo-captured instances of a 100-plus foot wave. I started to find other examples of the same phenomenon in seismology, in sound engineering, in particle physics, in social networking strategy. And I'm interested in finding out if this can apply in some non-physical realm, an abstract realm, an interpersonal realm. So in wanting to explore whether or not any of these pieces fit into any sort of puzzle whatsoever, I conducted an interview process targeting about 100 local, super activated entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and nonprofit managers that I had access to, some of whom are here today. I'm going to blitz through two particular correlations that I found that were really interesting. The first is, this one is called organizational transparency versus community support. So here, I'm asking these business owners and stakeholders a couple of questions. I'm going to start with the blue line. The blue line, transparency, is them responding to this question. To what extent do you feel that you are being transparent, open, sharing your needs and wants with your community? Their answers varied tremendously. The red line is their answer to this question. To what extent do you have the experience that your community proactively steps into your project, proactively steps into your needs? There's an obvious correlation. Here I'm asking them as citizens, so put aside your business hat for a second and be a citizen in our community. The blue line here represents their answer to this question. This is the awareness of issues. So I'm asking them, to what extent do you feel that you are aware of the needs of your favorite and most important businesses, organizations, nonprofits in your community? And the red line is their answer to this question. To what extent are you taking action or applying effort into your favorite companies, nonprofits, organizations, NGOs? Ultimately, this process crystallized two things for me, pretty simple. One is increased transparency equals increased awareness of the consumer base. And then increased awareness equals new actions that they're taking, which I totally thought, well, duh. So let me bring this home a little bit. On the open ocean, this phenomenon occurs naturally when two or more phased, aligned waveforms come into being in a particular set of circumstances. In interpersonal situations, I'm suggesting that this requires two particular conditions to occur. The first is a cultivated listening for the possibility of wave alignment, an intention, a fixed, cultivated listening for that perfect opportunity where your collaboration might create an exponential result. And the second is coming back to transparency. Your ability to share, free from social etiquettes and sort of surpassing how we've come to interact in our businesses and nonprofits, sharing what your needs are, letting people know what would help you take your project to the next level. For my part, it's been an active exploration in this thought thread, if you will, for about a year. And my findings are that I have been able to play a deeper role in and be more involved in a significant number of projects that I haven't previously had access to, in which I get to make a greater contribution in less time. I certainly have more time now for my own personal projects and business interests. I'll give you a moment with that. I want to invite you to conduct with me what may very well be Victoria's or the world's first harmonic reinforcement social experiment. Underneath your chair, there's a pen and a piece of paper. Please grab it. On this piece of paper, I wish you to write two things. The first thing that I want you to write is your email address. You do not have to give this piece of paper to anybody if you don't wish to. Your email address. So on this piece of paper, write your email address. If you choose to hold on to this paper later, you're totally welcome to do so. The second thing that I want you to write on this piece of paper is one particular need that you have, one particular current bottleneck that you're experiencing in your project, in your mission, in your cause. I am standing in that this is a room of super activated, amazing people that are up to stuff. So I want you guys to help each other. Write down one area right now where the community harmonically reinforcing your intentions, your efforts, might make a monster wave difference for you. You have 30 seconds. You already know what it is. You think about this all the time. Write it down. So whether you have this in your head or have chosen to participate and written this down, I want you to start by reading what you've written and ask yourself this question. Do you have it that you have been being transparent about this with your immediate community? Whether that's your friends and family, whether that's other community leaders that you know, whether that's Twittering and hashtagging and eye-burying, like to what extent do you have it that the world should be pretty aware of this need of yours? That's a condition required for alignment. So now, there's 3 ways that you can play this game. 1, put the piece of paper in your back pocket. This game is silly. You're just waiting for Rafi to speak anyway. Number 2, you're going to play the game, but play it safe. You're going to switch with somebody that you know. So go ahead and trade papers with somebody you know if you're in this category. Number 3 is you want to play and step into the unfamiliar. I want you to take your piece of paper, reach behind you or in front of you, and trade with somebody you don't know. Go for it. All right, I'm going to keep speaking. Make it quick. So, take a moment and read. Let me grab your attention back, guys. Take a moment and read what you've written, what you're holding on to. I'm hoping it's not a request for your phone number. If it's a request for mine, pass it on. I want you, come back to me, guys. I want you to notice your experience in reading this open-ended request from somebody you don't know. Sit with your experience for just a moment. Is this interesting? Is this an imposition? Is this a total waste of your time? Would the request have been received differently if that person was taller, shorter, younger, a better singer, whatever the case may be? Be with your experience of having a stranger's request in your hand. So from here, there's 3 ways that I'm going to invite you to play. I'm sure there's some others. I'm going to give you 3. Number 1, you are the perfect alignment for that waveform. You already know it. I want you to email them later, give them your idea, your feedback, the book, the resource, your car, whatever it is that they're looking for that'll be the perfect thing for their needs. Part 2, you are in for this game and you're not the perfect fit for this request, but you think you know somebody that might be. Pass it on. Keep the game in motion. Number 3, you're holding somebody's request. You maybe shouldn't have taken it this far. You don't want to play anymore. Bring me those requests. At minimum, I'm going to play matchmaker. And at maximum, we'll weave some magic. It'll be really amazing. I ask that you find a way to honor the request that you're holding. It's somebody's dream, potentially. For my part, I have identified 5 particular companies and organizations that I'm committed that they survive, that they exist and thrive. And I'm going to take some time to continue to orient myself. They are my harmonic reinforcement 5. I totally invite you to find a similar way to explore your awareness of what's up in your community. Thank you so much.